Welcome back. Thanks for checking in again with Sleep in Comics. So today I'm going to talk about investing in comics. I've had a lot of questions and I kind of have answered some. It's tough in DM. Sometimes I talk to people on the phone, which is always fun. But today I'll kick off a series where I'm going to talk about investing in comics, which I'll say straight away is speculative and kind of a gamble at best. I've said that before and I will continue to always say that. And so the lines get blurred, of course, because I'm a collector first, investor second. If I want to invest in things, obviously there's a variety of different things we can do. Although, as you've seen on this channel, for example, with my AF-15, I have, I do have some comics that I think are investment vehicles. I don't even know if that's the correct term for it at all. But so the first thing I'll say, and like I said, I'm going to do a series of these videos, is that just like the stock market, anytime you get a tip, and let me back up even a little bit further. So when I was young, years and years and years ago, I read a bunch of books, but one of the books I read was called How I Made $1 Million in the Stock Market. I think the author was like Darvas or something like that. You can look it up. And there's a million books, and I'm sure they're all good, but I read that book when I was very young. I can barely remember it. I should probably read it again. And there's a lot of good anecdotes and other things, but one of the things that stuck with me, and that book is about a guy who made $1 million back in the 1950s in the stock market, was that he came to the conclusion that anytime you hear a stock tip, and back then I guess it was, maybe at a party you would hear one, or maybe you'd read something in a newspaper. Now obviously it's Twitter and whatever, Instagram and etc. websites. Anytime you hear a tip, you're too late. The people who already are in the know, whether that be the big brokers in New York or whomever it might be across the world, they already have inside information. And yes, I know inside information is supposed to be illegal, etc. But they already know that this particular stock is going to jump. So by the time you and I, as kind of, normal people, hear that tip, we're too late. The price is already inflated. Now that doesn't mean it can't continue to go up, but you're already buying at a disadvantage. And as we've said before, I'm not the first guy to say it, that whenever you're buying any type of investment, you make your money when you buy it. And so whether it be a house or a car, I guess cars are not a good investment. Well, it depends on the car, but you want to buy it for as close to fair market value or under market value, and then obviously have some sort of insight or belief that it's going to go up. And so in that scenario, anytime you hear about a tip or something like, hey, I think Apple's going to go up, this iPhone this year is going to do really, really well, you're too late. So the same applies to comics. And so that's why, and there's nothing against, once again, I like all the different apps that are out there. I think they're great. But you're too late. When you watch it on my channel or anybody else's channel and they say this is a hot comic, you're too late. When you hear on Twitter that Moon Knight is going to get a Disney Plus show, you're too late. I don't think that comics, and I have watched it obviously over the past 5 years is really when I've come back and really been into it, moves as fast maybe as the stock market or whatever, but you definitely can see it, and the question would be, can you catch it beforehand? Or is the market just moving because people like comics now and so more people are buying comics? So let me talk specifically about one comic, and that is, I'll put it up on the screen here, Conan the Barbarian 14. First appearance of Elric. And if you follow this channel, you know I'm a big Elric fan. I read his books as a kid. I actually didn't even know as a kid that he was associated with Conan. I think the first thing I ever saw with Elric was in Dungeons & Dragons, because I was a big Dungeons & Dragons player. He was in the first Deities and Demigods, and then in the other editions he was not. Either way, character that I like and I have followed. So since I followed that comic, there's no news. I think there was some news maybe a year ago, but for the most part, this is a dead character. Most people don't know who this is. And so I have followed that character because I like it, and you've seen some of the comics that I have over the years here on my channel. But I have seen the price on that slowly go up. I would not classify it as spiking. And I would say it's going up because, you know, as I've always said, some guy bought the comic for, you know, $12, and when he finally listed on eBay, he's not going to list it for $12, he's going to list it for $15. So over time, it gradually goes up, and that's what I'm seeing. Now, because I tend to watch that comic, Conan the Barbarian number 14, if it were to ever jump, I would know, because I've watched that comic for years and I haven't seen really any significant jump in it at all. So there's a chance where I perhaps would at least understand that something different is going on. Now, I know people use a lot of tools. I think they're scanning eBay, and obviously you can use GP analysis and all these other websites too to look at the overall market. But really what you, of course, would want is to jump in on a comic before everybody else, and before even the insiders know. And so that's why, I mean, it's not sexy or anything like that, but if you buy comics that you like, and as I said, you get a feel for which characters have great stories and being successful, and you just pre-order them or buy them at cover month after month after month, 5 years later, some of those characters are going to get a push. Either, you know, they've become large characters in Marvel, or of course the ultimate is they get this big push into the MCU, and they really hit the accelerator. So that's not necessarily maybe the answer that you wanted, but in terms of investing for comics, that is my first finish, and I don't want any of these videos to go on too long, so I'm going to kind of chop them up. So that's the first thing I would say to you, is that anytime you see any of these apps alert you, or the top 10 list or anything like that, you're too late. Now, does that mean you don't want to maybe jump on, especially if it's a character that you're interested in? I mean, it's collecting. You know, you do what you want. But from a pure investment perspective, every time personally I see a top 10 or an update, I read it. I think it's fun. It might be useful, but I'm not rushing to buy. I think in my mind that, okay, I missed out on that one. Now, of course, the exciting ones are the ones that you already had in your back pocket because you've been collecting over the years, and they get the big push, and then you're super excited. That's it for today. I'm going to try and come out with one of these each week. This one is going out on Tuesday, so hopefully I will continue to push them out on Tuesdays. That seems to be a good day. Thanks for all the support. Definitely leave any questions you might have below, and I'll talk to y'all soon.